Chapter 37, the final chapter of Elihu, this non-friend, this observer, this guy who's got so much to say that nobody else who's older and more experienced understands. And he was in the midst of a hymn, a song, praising God's control of the rain, and marvels. And how could anybody say bad things about God when God controls these things? And he continues with this in chapter 37. Af lazot yechared libi. Yitar mimkomo. Because of this too, my heart quakes and leaps from its place. Shim'u shamoa birogez kolo vehege mipiv yetze. Just listen to the noise of his rumbling, to the sound that comes out of his mouth. Listen to the thunder from the sky, the power that God has. Tachat kol hashamayim yishrehu ve'oro al kanfot haaretz. He lets it loose beneath the entire heavens, the thunder, the lightning. His lightning comes from the heavens and comes all the way down to the ends of the earth. This is the greatness that's being understood here by Elihu of the of God. Continuing, Acharav yishag kol yarein bekol geono velo yaakvem ki yishama kolo. Verse 4, and after it, he lets out a roar, right? Lightning and thunder. The lightning comes down, the thunder comes. He thunders in his majestic voice. No one can find a trace of it by the time his voice is heard. Yareim el bikolo niflaoto segdolot velo neda. God thunders marvelously with his voice. He works wonders that we cannot understand. How can it be? The voice comes, the sound, but we don't see him. How could it be that it appears and it disappears and it's so strong, but there's no, we don't see the remnant of it in any way. Continuing in Pasuk Vav, Kila Sheleg Yomar Heve Aretz V'Geshem Matar V'Geshem Mitrot Uzo. Furthermore, his strength, why he commands the snow to fall to the ground and the downpour of rain, his mighty rain that shows his strength, right? He controls all of these things. Biad kol adam yachtom ladat kol anshe maaseh. It's a sign on every man's hand that all men may know his doing. Everybody sees the thunder and the lightning. Here's the thunder, sees the lightning, the snow, the rain, the strong rain, the small rain. Vatavo chaya b'mo arev uve me'onateha tishkon. Then the animals, the beast, enter its lair and remain in its den. Right, meaningly that these are also agents of God that come and can be punished or can mete out punishment based upon them. Again, more things that God is controlling. Minacheder tavo sufa umim zarim kara. The winds, the storm winds, come from its chamber, and the cold from the skies, from the constellations. Minishmat el yitain karach. V'rochav mayim b'mutzak. By the breath of God, ice is formed, and the expanse of water becomes solid. It turns to ice. Doesn't sound like somebody who was living in Israel, maybe a little further northeast, somewhere where there was more snow and rain and ice. Af beri, we're in verse 11. Af beri yitrav av. Yafitz anan oro. He also loads the clouds with moisture and scatters his lightning clouds. V'hu misibot mitapech betach bulotav lefa'alam kol asher yitzavem al pnei tevel arza. And God keeps turning events through his plans and through his strategies, and they all accomplish all that he commands throughout the inhabited earth. The thunder, the lightning, the winds, the rain, the snow, they're all just listening to him. They are all just following in his directions. Imla shevet, imla arzo, imla chesed, yamtziehu, causing each of them to happen, whether as a scourge or as a blessing. But they're all following God. God is all powerful. We should be singing praises to God, not doubting God's justice, not doubting retribution. We should be praising, understand the rain and the snow and the thunder and the lightning and the wind and everything that is in nature that is at the control of God. And now he has come, he has made his points, Elihu, and he turns back to Iyov in verse 14, Pasuk Yudal. Ha'azina zot Iyov, amod v'hitbonein niflaot el. So listen to this, Iyov, and consider Stop what you're doing. Stand up and consider the marvels, the wonders of God. Hateda bisum Eloah alehem vehofia or anano. Do you know what charge God lays upon them when his lightning clouds shine? Right? Do you understand what's going on? Do you have a knowledge of such thing? And he continues the next verse with the same word. Hateda al miflisei av miflaot tmim deim. Do you know the marvels, the wonders worked upon the clouds by him whose understanding is perfect? Meaning, do you understand the way God runs the world, the power and the strength, the knowledge, the intellect, the intelligence, the thoughtfulness that needs to happen in order to have the world running in this way with all of these different celestial beings following God's orders? Do you know them? Do you understand how these things work? Asher bigadecha chamim behashket eretz midarom. Why your clothes become hot when the land is become by the south wind. Do you understand what's going on? Are you in God's mind? Tarkiaimo la shichakim. Chazakim kir'i mutza. Can you help him stretch out the heavens? Firm as a mirror of cast metal? Is that something that you can do? Hodienu ma no marlo. Lona aroch mipnei choshech. So tell us, let us know, inform us that what we should say to God. We can't argue because we're in darkness. Very sarcastic, it seems to me. Iyov, you know these things. You must know these things. You understand God. You understand. You've reasoned that God has treated you incorrectly. So inform us about all of the ways that God runs the world that you know and you are privy to, because we are living in darkness. Continuing in verse 20, Pasuk Chaf, Hayisupar lo ki adaber, im amar ish ki yevula. Is anything conveyed to him when I speak? Can a man say anything when he is confused? Right? Is God like us? Is God mortals? Is God listening to what I have to say? Explain to me, Iyov, right? Explain to me what's going on, what you hear. Viata lo ra'u orba hirhu bashchakim veruach ovra vatit taharem. Now one can't see the sun because it's so bright in the heavens until the wind comes and clears them of the clouds. Mitzafon zahav ye'ata al Eloah norahod. When the north wind comes, the golden rays of the sun emerge. The splendor of God is awesome. Shaddai lo mitzanuhu. Sagi choach mishpat verov tzedakah lo ye'aneh. Shaddai, we cannot attain him. Name for God, Shaddai. He is too great in power. His justice is too great. He's too righteous. He does not torment us, right? You say you understand God. We're in the darkness. We can only see little glimpses with the clouds coming through the sun, coming through the clouds. And we can see a little bit of his greatness, of his strength, of his justice, of his righteousness. But and it's not something, the word in the end of 23, lo ye'aneh, is not from the word a note to answer, but it's the word related to inui, like on Yom HaKippurim, v'initem et nafshotechem, to afflict. God, he says, is full of righteousness. God doesn't afflict. God's clouds allow some light to come through. We can get a little glimpse of that beauty, but we don't understand the fullness of God. So Iyov, explain it to us. Very sarcastic, I believe. Lachein yireuhu anashim lo yireh kol chochmah lev. Therefore, men are in awe of God, whom none of the wise can perceive. Iyov, you can't perceive God. Iyov, you don't understand. What right do you think that you understand God? Come and explain it to us. Sarcastic. Iyov doesn't understand God. Iyov can't explain the ways of God. And that's where Elihu leaves his speech. And just to summarize, right, Elihu had a number of arguments, but half of what Elihu said was, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. And it sounds like that person that nobody's paying attention to. Are his arguments very new? Not so much. He accuses Iyov of sinning in certain places. He says, maybe Iyov maybe didn't sin, but God is just and God is right. And like many of the other friends, he is attempting to take Iyov's situation and fit it into the box, the theological theodicy box that he knows and he understands and he was taught, and Iyov needs to fit into that box, and Iyov isn't fitting into that box, and as a result of that, Iyov isn't returning to God, and Iyov is being, in a sense, blasphemous and will never get out of that box, and Iyov should appreciate that God hasn't killed him. And that should be enough, that God has saved him. And those are some of the arguments that are being made by Elihu. Most of them not really new. They're refashioning, repurposing of the arguments. And as I said, when we started, Elihu gives a speech. Nobody answers, tells him, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. That's actually even before the first speech. Gives a second speech, nobody answers. Seems to give a third speech, nobody answers. Nobody seems to be answering Elihu. His over and over again, his declaration, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, is a demonstration of the fact that it appears that nobody is really listening to him, that nobody is showing him this youngster who has injected himself into this conversation. He's not one of Iyov's friends who come at the beginning and sit there during the Shiva and are there to comfort and don't open their mouth. And this Elihu seems to be a person who speaks a lot, begs people to listen to him. He's got what to say, but he seems to be generally, at least by the friends in Iyov, ignored.